Hi, welcome to Two Non-Doctors. I'm Liz Mealy.
I'm Maria Shahada.
Two Non-Doctors try to figure out the internet might be like our spin-off like movie where like you know what I mean? Like where it's like what Harold and Kumar and it's just like Maria and Liz. And I'm just like literally being like, I could reset it again. And you're like, we've already reset it.
That's not the answer. I don't have the answer because I can't Google it.
There's an app on my phone and the app makes me feel like I'm more in control because it's simpler than two buttons, which it says something, or at least like two buttons, like you don't really know what you're pressing, as opposed to like when you press something. My thermostat is also like an app, and I have to say it's like, I don't know. I know we joke like there's an app for that, like whatever, but the more apps for my electronics, the more I feel like I'm in control, like I need no one.
Yeah.
So
yeah, your thermostat, I saw like in Just Like That, the Sex and the City reboot, Carrie gets this new like slick apartment and like I think she might have been in Tribeca or something. But it had your same sort of thermostat where the numbers like displayed in like light, LED light and shit. I was like,
yeah.
oh.
And it's just like, oh my God, I have a rich person thermostat. We're making it. We're making it.
I look kind of ghoulish. Like this lighting makes me look really contrasted and pale.
Well, also we're like two different filters because mine has like kind of like a hazy filter. Like I'm Paris and you're Russia, I guess. I don't know. Yours looks
Russia isn't
cold.
even a filter on stories.
You just have I have a warmness and yours, I don't know, because of the blue and the
Oh, I
couch.
knew it too. Sorry, give me a second.
Oh, it's happening.
Yeah, it's happening. Anyway, that's a little better. I don't look like so ghostly. I made Johnny watch Dirty Dancing.
He's never seen it?
No, and actually I think I had seen it maybe once. I wanted to watch it when it came out, and then I remember my parents saying no, and I think it's just because it had Dirty Dancing in the title. Like I don't know if they even know what they were saying no to.
Your parents, I mean, unless you're like a tiny child, I just, you know what I mean? Because it's like
I was
okay,
a child. I was a child.
I guess, yeah, I guess if you're younger than 17, like there
Oh,
is a
way
part of
younger.
you. Yeah, I guess it is because it is about sexualized dancing. Wow, that's like a real adult way of putting that. There's a lot of sexualized dancing in this.
He was like, when it finished, he was like, what was that movie about?
There is something crazy about loving class, like seeing something when you're young, and whether it's a classic or like a classic just to your own heart, and then showing it to somebody as an adult and being like, huh? And there's no like childhood attachment or the fact that they haven't watched it 80 times or they didn't talk about it with their girlfriends. There is something crazy about showing people like
Yeah, especially when it's different cultures too. So like he could not, it's not that he couldn't understand, he couldn't comprehend how Patrick Swayze's character was like a lower class than these people, because they were going to like her family, you know, her dad's a doctor and they're going to some, I guess they were in the Catskills. Because I think Mrs. Maisel had something where they went to the Catskills and it was a similar sort of thing. You spend a week in a cabin with a bunch of other Jewish people. But like, I was trying to explain to him that Patrick Swayze's character is meant to be, I don't know if lower class is the word, I can't think of the right word, but like working class, lower class. And he was, because like here in the UK, when you're like working class, like your accents tell someone what your class is basically. And I was like, but that's not really the case in the US. It's more subtle if there is a difference, but it's not as defined as it is here.
It's almost why we're obsessed with asking what you do.
Yeah.
Don't you feel like that's a subtle, like, you know, I've always thought it was used, and how I use it is just to make conversation. If you tell me you're a mechanic, I could be like, oh, I have a friend that's a mechanic. I know nothing about cars, but you know, I changed my own tire once and I feel like I'm a superstar. Like, it's like, to me, asking what somebody does is a way to start a conversation. But only recently have I learned that A, other cultures don't do it and think it's weird, and B, that some people are using it to put you in a box. The fact that you don't say I'm a doctor after someone asks, or I'm a lawyer, makes people be like, no, thank you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So he was like, but I don't understand. He's a dancer. And I was like, yeah, but like he's staff. He gets paid to dance with the people there. And he was like, but he's like, money changes hands. I was like, yeah. And he was like, so I don't understand. Like why is he, he just didn't understand that he was supposed to be like they're not supposed to intermix with these other people. He was like, I don't get that divide. And I didn't know how to explain it.
But isn't that like, I mean, that's to me, learning about any culture whatsoever. Like when I've learned about like the caste system in India, I'm like, I still don't get it. Like, I just don't get it. So I mean, I could see right away that how do you immerse yourself in a show that like you have to, like, we buy into how he's being treated because sadly, I think that's how we were taught to treat people. You know what I mean? Like,
he was so funny because like when he was watching Breaking Bad, he was like, I don't get it. He was like, they're supposed to be poor, but they have a pool. He's like, only super rich people have pools here. If that, like, you know, just like, that's hilarious. Like everybody just has a pool because it's hot. It's not.
Yeah, I mean,
you have the space is the thing. If you have that kind of space in the UK, you're an aristocrat.
That's so crazy. Yeah, and I mean, I think that's just the United States being massive. That's so funny. I mean, I want you to do a joke about that because I find that so funny.
I was like, if you have a gig in the States, you have to do a joke about that because it's hilarious.
But like there's something so funny about, I've watched a lot of UK shows. So like we've all seen The Office, the original, I'm trying to think, Fleabag, I'm trying to like Spaced, even just like British movies, like think of like Hot Fuzz or Shaun of the Dead. You have Sex Education. Ted Lasso seems to be like a mix or whatever. And it's like, there are times that I go, I don't get that joke, or I don't completely understand that situation, but I don't feel like I'm like somebody said, was it you that said that Sex Education? Yeah, it was you that said that Sex Education seems like an American high school as opposed to a British high school.
Which I wouldn't have known. Johnny pointed that out. Like I wouldn't have known the difference, but he was like, it feels like an American high school.
Which is, I mean, I wonder if I'm assuming it's a British writer, but it's a British writer that grew up watching American high school comedies, because that's the other thing is like I've had British friends come over here and they're like, that's a high school, like, and you're just like, that's a little creepy when you're an adult. Like, don't be that excited about a high school. You know what I mean? There are children in there. But there's something like it is, because I mean, you have like kind of fish out of water jokes from somebody that moved to the UK, but I don't feel like you're as shocked by their movies and shows the way Johnny is.
I mean, Game of Thrones, just, I don't know that when it came out, I didn't really watch it, first of all, but what I did see of it, I didn't know there was any difference in accents, which is there's a huge difference in accents. Like, cause like the Northern and Southern divide is like the whole fucking show. And I was like, what difference? Like, but that's, yeah.
So is it accurate? Like, are the accents accurate, or is that the problem that people had with it?
Accents are accurate, but like what the accents mean, like I had no idea. And I don't know that a lot of Americans know that there's like any meaning to the accents.
I know that the accents, like a Manchester accent is very different from a London accent, which is very different from like a Liverpool accent. But I don't think I understand what you said earlier, which is that somebody opens their mouth and you're like, oh, you're chimney sweep. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. So that's something that surprised me, I guess, coming over here and realizing.
We just make other
music outside.
Okay, fine. I hope we don't get copyright infringement. No, I swear we weren't playing it. It was my neighbor.
Yeah.
You want to get into announcements?
Yeah, let's do it.
Thank you to all our Patreons. Thank you to everybody that supports us. We are beyond grateful. If you do not know, you can support us by becoming a Patreon. And what you get for that is early access to episodes, weekly bonus episodes, monthly bonus episodes. You can control our Googles. You could be a Google guest. You can get access to our stand-up. You can get a signed book. There's like tons of you can stickers. You get tons of rewards and benefits for supporting us, and we are grateful for everybody that does that. But you can go to patreon.com/2nondoctors /doctors.
Yeah, and you can follow us on the socials. You can follow us on Instagram at 2nondrs, the number 2, or Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter at 2nondoctors /doctors. And if you have time and you're feeling up for it, leave us a rate and review, because we feel great. We love reading them. And we share them on our socials. They make us really happy. You can also leave a rating now on Spotify as well, but I don't think a review.
Yeah. I was just going to say, somebody was just like, I guess they found out about like the Spotify riff that was going on between comedians here. And they were like, it's so weird because it feels like Spotify's dicked over comedians, but everybody that has a podcast is still like, check out my podcast on Spotify. I was like, I'm one of those people. They ripped down all my albums, and I'm still like, listen to us on Spotify. Like, I don't know, you know what I mean? Like, at this point, it's like everything's so intertwined. It's really funny that I get a monthly like email that's just like, you have X number of listeners. And this happened in November, and my December was like, you have 1 listener. And I was like, fuck you, Spotify. Like, at least respect that if you ripped all my albums off, that I don't get an email that tells me I have no listeners now.
That's crazy.
Like, yeah, it's still not resolved, and it is what it is.
There's one person hanging on out there. I know she's here.
Yeah. Well, what it is they took out my albums, but I'm on some compilation thing from like almost 15 years ago. So that's the only thing that's up on my channel, is something I don't make any money off of.
Right. Cool.
Cool. Thanks for your listen. Not their fault. Fucking Spotify. Fan mail?
Yeah.
Oh wait, I have local shit. I think when this comes out, I'll be in California. So
soaking up the rays, listening to the Beach Boys, driving in convertibles.
Doing almost none of that. Waiting for my sister to get off from work, borrowing her car, going to do gigs, and then I extended my stay so we could go to flea markets together. That is.
Aww, it's such a shame I'm not going to be out there at the same time as you.
I know. When do you go?
Never. I mean, I don't have a trip planned. I'm just saying, like.
Oh, yeah.
Be out there.
I mean, we're a team too. I feel like 2 mealies and a shahada. We could fuck some shit up.
That's right. Yeah.
But yeah, sorry. I'll be in California when this comes out, and then February is Raleigh and Charlotte. Hopefully Europe, I'll actually know by the time we do the next episode, and then Michigan, Boston, and Atlanta throughout the spring and summer.
Yeah. Okay, so we have fan mail from Russell. He writes, hello, Liz and Maria. Enjoyed your last show and was intrigued by your love of teas. Having been raised in Hawaii, I've been around Japanese green tea all of my life and do love the good stuff. There are different grades. Fun fact, don't know how matcha got into the zeitgeist, but it's not really for drinking.
What? I know, but then he doesn't elaborate. Like, finish the email, but I was just like, okay, is it a facial mask?
I know, I'm like picturing war paint, just like painting it under your eyes. What it like, even though it wouldn't work, it's supposed to be camouflage. Anyway.
Like, it's not that I don't believe him, but I want to be like, and?
You shouldn't be drinking that.
Okay, you continue. Anyway. I'm going to Google that while you read.
I know that at least one of you, perhaps both, have been to Japan, and it seems like you like green tea also. I don't know how easy it is to get the real thing where you are, the kind where the only writing on the bag is Japanese. Yum. But if you would like, I'd be happy to send you both some. Liz, if you have a PO box, I could send to you and you could forward to Maria. Just a thought I'd offer my favorite YouTubers. Oh, aloha from Hawaii, Russell. That's so nice.
It was such a sweet email. I think. PO box, didn't we? Yeah, we did. Yeah. I don't know. You know, what's so weird is that, like, I almost think Russell needs to write us back, because I'm already Googling, like, are you supposed to drink it? And the entire internet's like, yes. and like, I genuinely, you know, as somebody that's a green tea connoisseur and what have you, I want to hear, why should you not drink matcha tea?
Yeah, please let us know.
Well, the NIH cautions against consuming more than 5 cups of green tea daily. Didn't know that. The equivalent amount of matcha is far less because the powdered leaves are consumed. Oh, I guess because matcha tea is the ground up leaves as opposed to regular tea is soaked leaves. And so there's, So that's the issue, is that it's
I don't think it's like a too
you're
much
consume
thing.
yeah,
I honestly don't think that's what he meant. I feel like maybe you're supposed to like use matcha in cooking rather than drinking it.
Oh, that's, I didn't even think of that. I'm just
Have you
like
ever had
yeah, yeah.
the crepe cake, the Japanese
Yeah, you made me have it. It was so great.
with the matcha powder? Oh my God. With the cream. I haven't had dessert in a while.
I see that.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I don't even like, we even talked about it when I forget what episode we went on about tea too much. But just too much tea talk. We go on our rants. I tend to like a naturally sweeter tea. So my green tea of choice, it comes in a tin, which makes me feel really fancy. And then I have to try to like recycle these, like all my pens are in these, like I look crazy. Like this, it's this green tea. What is the brand now that I think about it?
I've talked about your tins before. I think it's Harvey and Sons.
I'm so proud of you. I didn't even know that. Harvey and Sons Fine Teas. They don't sponsor us. I just like their tea. And this is green tea with coconut. So it's green tea with a Thai twist. What? I'm so fancy. But I was getting this green tea with coconut in London, and they like, that's what I would do, is like half my suitcase was this fucking green tea with coconut because I couldn't find it here. And then I discovered Harvey and his sons. Big fan of putting coconut in their tea. Huh?
Huge brand. It's not like a dude somewhere on like fucking.
I know. I mean, I would think so. It's expensive. Like it's like 4 bags for $90. Like I actually did them. Have you ever like, when you go and you just like get a cup of tea at a coffee shop and you're like, how is this almost as much as like the latte that gets mixed and it has stuff in it? Like you're just kind of like, what are we doing here? But I remember I got a tea and it was $4 and I was like, come on, man. But then I did the math of just what this green tea is, forget service or whatever. And I think it comes out to like $2.50 a bag. Like it's not cheap just to have. It is. I'm fancy now. Like I like this green tea. Like I'll have regular green tea, but I genuinely love my little Thai twist of green tea.
Why can't you have a lesser green, like not a lesser green tea, like a different green tea, a nicer green tea, but then put desiccated coconut in it? Because they have those flakes. You could just do it yourself.
I don't. First of all, don't use the word desecrated when you talk about my beverages.
Maybe
like I just.
Oh fuck! What is the word?
I don't know, but it was disrespectful. I just somehow see you like literally like brutally murdering a coconut and then like harshly putting chunks of it in my tea.
Desiccated. Yeah. Well, look, I mean, I remember when you suggested when I accidentally got crunchy peanut butter to blend it, and I was like, fuck off. I think I've just done the same to you. All right.
Touche. No, it is my fancy green tea. Also, I reused the bag like 3 times. That's, yeah, I like it. It's fine. First of all, you can reuse it. And second of all, you know me. If I have, even when things aren't expensive, I like I'm like reusing paper towel. I was raised by my parents. I'm just like, you're like, hey, can I have a paper towel? And you're like, this one's only a week old. And you're like, I can't do this list.
You're like, no, I'll dry it right now. And then you put it in the dryer. Yeah, I can't get down with the using the tea bag again. It's I'm really particular about like how to brew my tea. I know this is kind of annoying. It's probably super annoying. But when I brew tea, you have to put the hot water in and let it steep for at least 3 minutes before putting in the milk because it lessens the water. Okay, like that's how you do it. People do it. I go to their house, and then like,
that drives me nuts at a coffee shop.
Yeah,
where you're just like, hey, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
Like it's literally the tea bag's been in it for 3 seconds, and then you just dump milk in it, and I almost want to be like, I'll do it.
Yeah. Give me the hot water. I'll pour it, everything. I'll do everything. One time I ordered iced green tea in Edinburgh. Mm-hmm. And the girl, I swear to God, I was like, I asked for an iced green tea being all American. She was like, what? So then I was like, so then I was like, do you know what? Can you just give me like a green tea and then a large cup of ice. And she was like, so you want iced tea, like green tea? And I was like, yeah. And so she's like, I got it. And then she gave me like a teacup with green tea with like 3 cubes of ice in it. And I was like, I didn't know how else to be like, I didn't know how to get what I wanted in that situation.
And you can't even be mad because it goes back to like what we talked about culturally. Like I remember I went to Japan with my ex and his family, and his family all is from Australia. And so she just wanted like an Earl Grey tea. And we went to like a Starbucks in Japan. She's just getting an Earl Grey tea, but they do milk tea automatically. And
Oh,
like, and it was crazy. So she got a large tea and it was like 50% milk. And she was like, what is this? And I was like, I'll have it. I was like, I love having tea like that. Like I
yeah.
mean, that's what I love about Asian culture is like bubble tea and milk tea and like even you see how I take my black tea in general. It's like, but the other part of it that was crazy is in Japan, we would get like coffee or tea and then we would ask for milk and they would give this thimble. I'm not even exaggerating. I actually bought one at Daiso because it just made me laugh. So you would get a thimble that's like as big as, not even as big as your thumb, and that's how much milk it would be like a little like I can't even describe it. It's like so tiny. So tiny. Like it was just insane. And we laughed every time. And I was like, "Oh, I have to like I can't get coffee here. Like this is insane." Like I usually do like I don't know, 1/4 milk. Like I like a lot of milk if I'm going to have something. I like it white.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
like it almost, you know what I mean? It's like to the point where somebody's just like, "Is that coffee?" And I'm just like, before I put milk in, yeah, it was. I was
yeah.
thinking about becoming it.
That's like when I used to be out with you and like you'd ask for ketchup and they'd give you a little cup of ketchup and you're like, I'm gonna need the bottle.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I started to do that at comedy clubs. I was like, I'm gonna need an offensive amount of ketchup. Like whatever would actually make you feel grossed out, that's what I want. And
Yeah.
now, and now I just try to get it myself so nobody has to know who I am.
Just pulling ketchup out of your bag. Just like, I got this. It's
My
fine.
mom used to have her own dressing because she wanted it to like she wanted to know the calories. And that's who I'm becoming, where I'm just like, ketchup.
Yeah. Yeah. We've talked about this. You get older and you just know what you want. You just
Yeah,
think about
I'm
it.
not playing. I'm not playing this game. Thanks, Russell. We'll try to see if you can send us tea because I would like authentic tea.
Yeah.
And I think we are trying to grow as people and be more cultured, even if we fail at it. But thank you so much. We appreciate it. And tell us why we can't drink matcha. I want to know what we're supposed to do with the matcha. There's more questions. Google's.
Yeah, sorry, I was in the middle of trying to come up with a pun for that.
You go first.
Hmm. My Google was, can eliminating gluten, like, I guess no, my Google was, does gluten cause seasonal allergies? Because you know my allergies have been really bad.
I
Oh,
really think it does.
I do too. But the
I
thing is
really,
I couldn't find anything other than anecdotal evidence.
yeah.
There were some people who were like, there might be a connection, but really no. But like anecdotally, a lot of people who gave up gluten ended up like their allergies were better. And that's how I feel. Like I feel I've pretty much given up gluten since the new year. Like, I mean, it happens every once in a while. Like I'll have soy sauce or like someone will present me with a cake or something. But other than that, like it just happens
It's my
sometimes.
birthday every day and I can't say no because we're celebrating. But other than that,
But I feel like my allergies have gotten a lot better. And I was taking pills every day and I was like looking into the shot
wow, I didn't
and
know
I
that.
stopped taking the pills. And it's been in the morning and at night, I still get allergies, but like listen to me now. Like normally I'm like
You're not,
sniffling and I'm like, ugh.
yeah, yeah, yeah. You would
Yeah,
always like duck out to like blow your nose. That's crazy. So
yeah.
this is my uneducated theory. In general, for so there's people that so I think I have a slight gluten intolerance. I tried going gluten free. I now have to start February 1st because like between Blue Apron and like I just kept every day I kept messing up and I was being mean to myself and I finally was like just you now know, let's start a new day. I literally was like we'll start February 1st. Like I had to
Did you
like
mess up because you forgot? Because like I'll be eating a roast and just eating this like like puff pastry Yorkshire pudding thing, and I'm just like, yum. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gluten free. Like,
so yeah, so the first time I started making ramen like from my Blue Apron and I was like, "Oh, fuck." Like I was literally in the middle of making it and I was like, fucking shitballs. So I was
Yeah.
like, okay, I'll eat this 2 days in a row and then I'll start then. And then it was something I made something and I was like, dude, this is like, it happened so many times that I was like, all right, you're clearly not mentally ready. You need to buy groceries and like get your head straight. But back to my theory. So my theory is that in the beginning, it was like there was like people that were either celiac or had a gluten intolerance. Like, and those people just in general felt something when they had it. But I think overall, what they're saying is that our new wheat, like the wheat that's, grown, like that is developed over time, has more gluten in it, which is the reason that people are having stronger reactions. But I think everybody's starting to not feel great on gluten, and I think it just suppresses your immune system, which will make anything else kind of have you have a reaction to it. So I think in general, you might not be allergic to it, but I think there's something about gluten that suppresses your immune response, and that's making allergies worse. That's my theory.
Yeah. I mean, and that's, I think essentially what I would read is just like something about gut health, and like histamines acting up and, whatever you just said. But when it gets to
Yeah.
the point where you're just like, I know what I felt. So that's good.
Yeah. No, and it's cool when it actually like works out. Like my dad, I think we talked about this very early in episode. My dad he says vegan, but even my mom are like, we don't think he went vegan. We think he went vegetarian and he just put a V word to it. But my dad was, I would say, very authentically vegetarian for like 10 years of my childhood. So I really didn't eat a lot of meat. I really didn't. If somebody asked me how I wanted my burger done in college, I was like, I don't know, however you do burger. Like we just didn't eat. Honestly, I had chicken nuggets and everything else was like pretty vegetarian. Like,
I'll be honest, chicken
so
nuggets are probably vegetarian too. There's like, what
yeah,
is
they're probably not real meat. They probably were the original. What is that new fake meat? Best meat?
I don't know.
There's like a new fake meat that everybody's doing. Anyway, so my dad in the 80s or early 90s just had a theory that meat was causing his allergies, and him and my aunt Donna would always just kind of commiserate about how like the spring would come and they couldn't breathe, they would have really bad hay fever. So my dad went vegetarian, and within 6 months all his allergies went away, and then he just continued it for about, I think, 8 years. And when he went back, his allergies didn't come back. So I do actually think there's also something about reprogramming. And I've noticed that even with my stomach issues, like I was super strict for about 2.5 years and then a little less strict for like another year and a half, 2 years. And I still occasionally have issues with my stomach, but not the way I did when I was in my 20s, like
Yeah.
at all. So I
Yeah.
do think you also kind of reprogram your body and or give it a break or let it, breathe. You know what I mean? Like just it just kind of is like, hey, I can't do inflammation every day. Like, give me a second.
Yeah.
So let's get Google.
Thank you. What's yours?
Mine's sad, and I'm not going to go into details. It's about my kitten. You know the full story, which is that he is very sick. But at the time, I've now Googled the entire internet about everything about kittens, and I'm pretty much a veterinarian now. So I thought I was when I wrote my book, but it's I don't know. People should start bringing their cats to me because I've read everything you can on the internet because I don't like being left alone with my sadness. So basically what happened was Friday, I was kind of gone during the day a lot, which isn't usually the case. I'm usually home during the day and gone at night. But I met up with someone, and then I had a meeting, and I was gone half the day. And then I was actually home at night. And I just kind of noticed that Tots was sleeping more. I remember I wrote my mom an email at 1 a.m. that sounded nutty. I was like, I know this sounds nuts. I know it's a kitten. I know it's a cat, but I feel like he's sleeping more. And while I was waiting for my mom to wake up because it was 1 a.m., I just Googled, why is my cat sleeping more than usual? And it's like, if you note your kitten is like lower energy or when he is awake, it like if he has low energy when he's awake or the amount of sleep increases, it could indicate like a medical problem such as anemia. And since then, I've now Googled fucking everything, and we've been to the vet twice and it does not look great, and I can't actually talk about it more because I'll start crying. But he is anemic. I got tons of blood work done. Everything that's supposed to be normal is not normal. And he probably has a virus. I'm basically waiting for this this test to confirm it, but he's in my lap right now. It's like it's like having a really cute rock. Like all he does is sleep. It's like depressing as all shit. So I am sad to say that I do not think Tots will be with us much longer, which I cannot elaborate on because I'm already getting like this. But
yeah, it did happen really fast because it was
yeah,
just recording last week and he was like running all over your shoulders. And
but yeah, they basically, my mom says it's even worse because it's acute. Like it just happened like that. So it sucks right now. It's not good. He peed on my bed twice. So that's also not good. He's like too weak to get off the bed. And he's also, that might be like a form of like incontinence. I don't know if I think he was just too weak to jump off the bed. So that's what I did last night, was a lot of sheets. And he now, like when I'm not home, he has to be quarantined, which makes me sad. But yeah, so
I'm sorry.
it's okay. But oh,
I know.
okay. I don't think I can talk about it anymore. Let's get personal.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you want to know? Don't anything. Okay. What's something you like to do what's something you like to do the old fashioned way?
The first thing I thought of was make salsa.
Okay.
I was like, make tortillas. I'm like cutting the corn off the cob and grinding it. I don't know how to make tortillas, but
I was gonna say, I was like, wow, I'm learning so much.
First time I actually made salsa, I was like, oh my fucking God. It's so much better than jarred stuff. And it's so hard to go back to that. But yeah, the old fashioned way. What
So
about podcasting?
we have 2 strings and a cup, and we all the way to London. These are my things.
To do stand up in clubs where it's smoky and and I'm just like in a leather jacket going like, what the fuck? I don't care.
What's the deal with? So calendars, I still have a paper calendar.
Oh yeah.
And to me, I think it's me, you, and Carmen. Like I don't know too many people that still have. I mean, you might journal.
I don't have like a wall calendar. I have a productivity planner, which isn't really old fashioned if you think about it.
Okay, I'm sorry to put you in that box.
Yeah.
No, I have like you buy it at Target or Staples at my like little, and then like somebody will be like I'll go for a run and I'll get a text and they're like, are you free? And I'll be like, I'll tell you in an hour when I get home. Like I sound crazy.
You can't just look on your phone. See, because Johnny does it the old fashioned way. He doesn't put things on his phone. He uses pen and paper like that.
But is it a calendar or is it like he has like pieces of paper?
I don't know. I think it's I think it probably is just a notebook. He probably just puts, no, it might be a calendar. All right.
I hope it's a calendar.
Because otherwise, I don't do that.
Crazy. No, and I've tried to go digital so many times. It's just, I really think I'm very visual and I think I'm tactile. I think I really feel like I'm going to be one of those people that like is 70 that still has a paper calendar, and like people are going to be like, I mean, they already think I'm nuts now. The only thing, you know what this paper calendar does? It makes me look younger, weirdly enough, because the only people that still use them and it's okay is kids in like high school and college. Like
so you look like younger and youthful and beautiful. You look like a child.
No, I have a backpack and then like I'm on the subway and I pull out my calendar and like immediately it like takes 10 years off. Like someone's like, oh, she's more than 10 years. People literally think I'm in college.
Yeah.
Oh,
go ahead. Were you still going to talk about calendars?
No, I had 2 more old fashioned things. Please.
Books. Yeah. Can't do.
I went back.
Paper books, and you went back to books?
I was digital and I was like gung-ho digital, especially when a book is like fat and you're like, I don't want to carry around this like fucking 800-pound book, especially with how slow I read. So it's like 3 months where you're just like,
25 pounds in my 50-pound bag is always books. Like when I'm traveling.
Yeah. And that's the other thing is if you're gone for a while, it's nice to have like a Nook or a Kindle where you have several books. But first of all, I'm joking with myself if I think I would have to be on like the last chapter if I think I'm going to finish a book on vacation or while I'm traveling. But yeah, I don't know what it is. Even though like it's nice, especially like when you're like sleeping next to your partner, it's nice that it's already illuminated and you don't need a book light. I remember my entire childhood, my dad every year would like buy us a book light. Like that was like to the point where you're just like, I don't need what do you think the last one broke? Like, why am I getting so many book lights? Like,
That's really funny. Yeah. Do you ever actually, I've noticed that about myself where I'll keep buying myself the same thing. I can't think of a specific example right now, but I get home and I'm like, I already have like 8 of these. Why do I keep thinking I don't have this thing?
I do that with a certain color nail polish. Like I'll like
Yeah.
be in like CVS and I'll be like, ooh, this is pretty. And then I come home and I have it four times.
Yeah.
Sometimes the same brand, sometimes a different brand, but it clearly the exact same color. And I'm just like, now I know if I like a color, I take a picture, you can come back for it, but you probably already have it if you like. I like 4 colors apparently. So yeah, books for me as well. Talking on the phone, I feel like that's become like old fashioned. Am I wrong?
Yeah, it has. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, when somebody
And
calls you, like, what's wrong with you?
yeah.
Side.
And I do voice. I've realized I've started to really like voice memos, or like voice messages. It's to the point where it bothers me when I have a friend that doesn't have an iPhone because you can't do it. But like, you know, especially with like WhatsApp, like, you know, you'll ask me a question and I'm like running out the door and I'm like, I can't text this. Okay, this is what you're gonna do. Da, 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 da. And it's like so much quicker. I feel efficient. It doesn't like loom over me that I'm gonna forget to text you back. So I've noticed that voicemails is an easier way for me, but I feel like that's modern. But in general, I am still a like, let's catch up on the phone. Also, all my friends don't live like at this point, half my friends live away. So I feel like
It's interesting that voice memos, they are easier, but like, why was Marco Polo so much, like, it just didn't really catch on. Like, we did it a little bit over lockdown. You remember that app where we'd leave video messages?
no, I only do it with one friend now. Because
Yeah.
I think you introduced me to it, and then I did it a little bit with my ex because we both traveled a lot, and it was just nice to see each other's face. Although FaceTime, it was especially when like he was in Japan and I was in like Colorado, and it's just like you could never get on the same schedule, so it's like you can't FaceTime. It's like, but me and Amanda still do it pretty frequently. She's probably the only person that it connected with.
I want to do it again. We'll do it again.
Yeah, I do like it. It's just what I like about it, especially because so Amanda had a baby. So I joke with her all the time. I was like, if you're up at 4 a.m., try me. Like I might be up. But I think for her, like she's up at some weird hour and she has some thoughts and she wants to talk about it. I want to talk about it now. Like, you know, like, so it's like you get to like have a conversation. The only problem is like she'll say all this stuff and I have to like take notes, like, because she'll cover like, you know, her dad got COVID. She had a baby. Like she's had like, it'd be like 19 things. And I'll be like,
just like speed up people's voices. You're like, all right, I get it.
so it used to be free and it's not free anymore.
No.
So all these things, like you could write on it, you could do all this fun stuff. That's how they get you. So they get you in the beginning and they're like, isn't this fun? And you're like, this is fun. And then they took everything away and everything's paid except for, to the point where I can't rewind either. So I have to like uber focus.
Yeah.
So I used to be like, do my makeup and listen to Amanda's like Marco Polo. And now I have to be like, I can't rewind. I'm not paying this app money. And what I'm starting to learn is my last old fashioned thing is dating.
Okay.
I really feel like I don't like these apps. And even without apps, I've very much realized that I'm like, I want to be courted. Like,
yeah, I get what you mean. But you know what? Like, I think the best, yeah, I agree with you. I think it's better to like meet somebody through friends because A, you already have that connection. B, when you meet them, it probably isn't like you're looking for someone and you're looking for someone. Why don't you two meet? It's probably just like, oh, we're all hanging out. And so it's a lot more casual and there isn't this kind of interview feel. And like, you already know they're not a complete psychopath, probably.
Yeah, I'm not like, I'm already like this in general. So like, you know, at least if I know what's his face has been friends with you for 10 years, it's like he's been slightly on the lookout for murder. Like,
yeah. I mean, and that's like, yeah, the apps are so difficult because you'll make really fast decisions and they'll make really fast decisions about you. And whereas like you might have, like if you meet somebody in person, you might not like super like them at first. And then, I don't know, 5 months later, you're kind of going, this person's really fun, actually. And then you
Yeah,
grow to like that, but that'll never happen on an app. You won't give somebody 5 months.
of course. And it's also like, I, I've sent you some screenshots of conversations where I'm just like, what is this? Like, what are we doing here? Like, it's just this, like, everything is sped up in a way that you're just like, hey man, I get that you don't want to like waste your time, but you like, we've gone from like 0 to 100 or we've gone from 0 to 0 where I'm like talking to a brick wall. I'm not even joking. I sent you that one screenshot where I was just like, what is this guy? I was like, what is this? But I've actually had to go to a couple guys and be like, hey, I'm very talkative and I get that's not for everybody. So I'm just gonna back away. I'm just gonna slowly back away. Like I'm just gonna, you know what I mean? Like I could tell, not to say that like, everything from texting on a fucking, but like this is, I know.
No, because when it feels like pulling teeth already, it's like, you're not doing me a favor by giving me your attention.
Yeah, I'm busy. I'm on this because I'm actually so busy that I needed something to distract myself. Like this is almost a game to me at this point where it's just like, I could play a game on my phone. I could like do something on Instagram or I could look at a boy. But I have to say, looking at a boy is like, I feel like playing a game I already have won is more effective than fucking talking to these brick walls. Like, I just want to be like, I can't, I know this is not nice to say, but I just want to be like, I can see why you're single. You are boring. I don't want to do this. Like, this is almost no real time requirement. And I still don't want to do this with you.
Yeah.
Like, Jesus. Also, I was on the apps a couple months ago for like a couple weeks. And then I stopped and then I went on it and I'm probably going to go off it again because I'm just like, this is making me sad. But I was like talking to this guy and it was like, again, pulling teeth. Like he would ask me a question. I would tell like a funny story. Maybe I'm not coming across as funny via text, but whatever. And then no response, no like, ha ha ha. Like, I don't know if he's taking my crazy at face value. I think I'm being charming. And then he would ask me another question or I'd ask him a question. It was monosyllable answers or whatever. But we both were like, this isn't like, bye. And then I went back on the apps and they match me with him. Like they say like, what about this guy? And I just want to be like, what are we doing here? Yeah. What are we doing here? He's boring. He thinks I'm boring. Let's like, whatever. Okay. Topic.
I think that's best. Yeah.
Okay. Topic is hoarding. It's interesting to me because we've talked about, hoarding came up in what episode that we did?
OCD?
Crap. A little bit in OCD, but it also came up in another one. Crap. I can't remember now. But what I find interesting about hoarding, especially reading more about it, and like I have people in my life that I think mildly have something to do with it, and then people that legit have what is called hoarding disorder. But what I find interesting about it is that, so this is like one of the first things they say is that like it affects your relationships. And you're just like, what? Like, how is like, they just make it seem like it's only a problem because your spouse is like, fucking these newspapers everywhere. Like, I don't know, for some reason, that being like one of the first things they say, like, I don't know.
I just feel like because of hoarding, like you end up very isolated and alone. And the people who are in your life will probably leave. And then it's hard to get someone into your life. What show was it? I think it might have been Toast of London. Do you know Matt Berry? English actor, comedian, musician, really funny. He did What We Do in the Shadows. He was in that.
Oh yeah, which one is he?
I didn't really watch What You Do in the Shadows. I didn't like it. I tried to watch it with Johnny and he loves it, and I didn't.
The movie or the show?
The show.
Oh, I do know who he is now. And I love both the movie and the show. And, me and my brother are kind of on the same page on most stuff. And he didn't really like the show. And that blew my mind. But I have to say, I'm obsessed with the show.
Yeah.
Anyway, continue.
Well, my whole point is actually, this took too long for it. But it's just that he dated a girl who he had to like climb over papers to get into her place. And it was a mess. But yeah, okay. It affects relationships. I think because there's so many issues with health and sanitation and like, so it's like you're going to push everyone away if you're just sitting in your filth. Like the worse it gets. Not all levels of hoarding is
Yeah, of course. And it says it's someone that struggles to discard items and collects unnecessary objects, and it can lead to unsafe and unhealthy living spaces and cause tension in personal relationships and severely diminish the quality of a daily life. And it's interesting because that sounds so cutesy in some ways, like so mundane compared to when you actually see it, it is mind-boggling horrific. So like when you think of like crazy cat ladies, and like we see articles all the time where like a woman dies, they go into her apartment and they find out that there's like 70 cats in an apartment, like 70 cats. Some of them are dead. There's food everywhere. There's crap everywhere. Like it's like this like zoo of a place. And I think it's exacerbated because it's live animals and in a small space, and you see this is a problem. But I think in some ways when you take animals out of it and you see that it's just somebody that can't throw away newspapers, or it's somebody that collects books, or it's somebody that collects memorabilia, you think, well, what's the problem? You just need a bigger space. But it's not that. It's like every surface has something. A desk is piled high. A toilet is no longer a toilet. A toilet holds books. This room is only for stuff, and it's not stuff you need. Like there's no longer this logical decision making of what is quality and necessary and what is junk and should be thrown out.
It's also a fire hazard. I think that's another big problem.
Oh.
It's just yeah, I mean, all those papers could just go up in flame, and my nose just
and it doesn't
annoying because I just spent the whole fucking podcast talking about how I figured my life out. Now I'm like, I'm about to sneeze, and it's just, I don't know shit. We
know nothing.
But yeah, and so it's that, and what was the other thing? You know, pests and stuff. Like you have that much stuff, like you can't, like if there's like mice and cockroaches and whatever, like you can't clean to get rid of them. Yeah.
Where do you put stuff? So they say hoarding can occur simultaneously with like other mental conditions. I think hence why it probably did come up in our OCD episode. Also, I think what we're learning from the last like 2 years, I love what's happening with your face right now. Just like this trying not to sneeze, doing like mouth exercises.
I was actually trying not to yawn because I didn't want you to think that I was bored, but I'm not bored.
But you look a level of crazy that I'm honored to be. You're like,
oh fuck you, I'm just gonna yawn next time.
No, I loved it. I like looked up from reading and I was like, what is she doing? But no, I think what we're learning is that like, and I see this in myself and my family, but like really from like every kind of mental illness that we covered, no mental illness stands alone. It feels like you need to have a pair. Like it's never just like, it's like OCD and anxiety, and it's, you know what I mean? So it's like hoarding and ADHD. Like it feels like you get to like,
trying to figure out if I was autistic, because like, I'm serious, because the misophonia thing.
You shouldn't have laughed. I'm sorry.
Because like autism presents differently in women than it does men because of social conditioning or whatever. I didn't really read up a lot on it, and I was like, maybe I am, because I always thought of somebody like, this isn't about autism. Let's go on. Let's move on. No,
but I mean, I have learned that I have several conditions in various ways. And that, but like it can, so that what I've learned is hoarding in general, I think is usually associated with something else. And it's hoarding disorder is like the full issue, but it could be associated with anxiety, ADHD, depression, dementia, OCD, obsessive compulsive personality disorder, which I think we slightly covered that, but I did not remember that there was another disorder associated with it. And then schizophrenia. So it's also like one of those things where like, it's just crazy to me that it's like mental illness is already difficult enough, but they're just like, pick a few, just like pick a couple that you want to like, just pick a couple that you like. You know, they said it could start with like actually just collecting stuff, which, you know me, I love collecting stuff.
Oh, really? That's the gateway? Yeah. It's like
so I think a lot of times it has some kind of, so they say like personal connection or connection to an event. So I could see how you might have some kind of childhood trauma, and collecting something might make you feel safe, or you lose somebody and collecting something reminds you of somebody. Something happens to you, maybe, you know, you are in World War II and, you know, your fighter jet got shot down, and you might collect World War II memorabilia or like plane stuff. I don't know. I can see how trauma and loss would make you feel more connected to stuff. Like, this is going to sound silly, but like my brother's favorite color, my brother Sam, his favorite color is purple, and he wears a lot of that like traditional like lumberjack plaid, the like red and black plaid.
Yeah.
And when he was really, really sick and in and out of hospitals, I missed him, and I was scared he was never going to be Sam again. And I found myself buying a lot of purple stuff. Like my water, like this, I bought when my brother was sick. I've had this for probably like 8 years. Like, I have a couple of the plaid things I bought is like, I bought it because it like reminded me of my brother, and it made me feel closer. So like, I can even see in my own habits of just wanting to feel connected or feeling scared about my brother's safety and health, how I could be connected to something that's associated with him and how that could get out of hand.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. I was trying to look up whether or not people who had to ration during World War II, like were like, did more of them become hoarders because they were afraid of losing?
I really think that I actually think you're right. I actually think it's true. So my two examples are, I think my grandfather, not bad. Both my grandfather and my dad, I would say, are like, if it's 1 to 10, I would say they're at like a 6. So this is what happened. You would go to my grandfather's house, and you'd be like, Grandpa, do you have any soda? And he's like, yeah, it's in the garage. And then you would open the garage door, and there was no cars or anything in it. It was like Coke, like bottles of 2-liter Cokes lined up, or there'd be cereal, and it'd be boxes of cereal lined up. Everything's expired, by the way. Everything's flat. Everything's expired. And it was just kind of like, you just kind of dealt with it. Or like, my grandfather found out I liked cereal, and so he would send me cereal when I was in college, and it was always expired, and I have to be like, thanks so much, Grandpa. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
a landlady that did that. She would always come over with like expired food, and you're like, what the fuck is this? Why are you and old yogurt and bananas and shit?
Yeah. But he would stockpile, I'm sure, because of how he grew up. And then my dad does a little bit of that. I mean, he had 5 kids, so of course we went to like Sam's Club, and we had like 5 years of paper towels and all the like my friend Amanda used to come over after school.
Yeah, that's probably like a timing thing. Like, he didn't have time to gather you all into the car and take you to Sam's Club every week. So he's buying
yeah. And he had like 50 kids, and then he had employees, and, you know, I understand bulk in that sense, but my mom just throws everything away. Like, my dad had all his notes from undergraduate, and my mom was like, when's the last time you read your undergraduate notes? He's like, I need those. And she's like, cool. And then my mom burned them. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I love both of your parents so much. And I think my parents have a similar dynamic. I don't know if there's a gene on my mom's side of the family. I do know that she buys a lot of shit, just shit.
Yeah.
Just like stuff that nobody needs, or like you're like, who is this for? Like, this doesn't fit the description of anybody in the family. Like, and like, she'd always do it under the excuse of like, oh, one day when I go to Egypt, I can bring them gifts. And so she had closets full of just shit. My dad would constantly clear it out and clear out her trunk and like stuff like that. But like, that wasn't that bad. And then I went over to my uncle's, her brother, for the first time ever, and I could not believe my eyes. Like, just like, it wasn't like stacks of paper, like your typical, like what you think with hoarding, like stacks of, it was a house covered in 99-cent store shit.
Wow.
Just like plastic plants and flowers and like little like Easter toys and like that fake grass shit, and just like any kind of junk piece of shit plastic thing you can get from a 99-cent store. I was like, what the fuck? Like, what the fuck?
And there's a part of me that's almost like, at least it's at a 99-cent store. Like clearly, I mean,
yeah, I wonder if he had more money, if it would have been like just shit, just covered in diamonds, just Tiffany's.
Yeah. Like, it looks like a Trump hotel, but it's just 99-cent stuff. It's all plastic. I mean, I also wonder, like we're learning with a lot of mental illness, if there is a spectrum. So they say with,
well, there is.
Really,
there's like 5 levels. Did you read that?
No, I didn't know there's 5 levels of hoarding.
Yeah, there's 5 levels of
hoarding. Break it down. I just had like symptoms. Let me hear
it. Hang on, let me get to it. You want to do the symptoms while I look it up?
Yes. So here are some symptoms: being unable to part with items, including valuable and invaluable objects, which that made me just laugh. like you can't valuable. Like why are you getting rid of valuable? Like I just was like including valuable or invaluable. Have excessive amount of clutter in the home, office, or any other space, being unable to find important items amid your excessive clutter, being unable to let items go for fear that you'll need them someday. Ooh, little bit of that person.
Yeah.
Holding on to, I do have like some of that in me, but I fight it. Holding on to excessive items because they are reminders of a person or a life.
You know what? Because I think the levels are going to overlap exactly what you're saying.
Okay.
So we'll just go over it with the levels. So level one.
I'm ready. One. Here, I'm helping.
Light clutter, no noticeable odors. All doorways and staircases are accessible. No more than 3 areas with animal waste throughout the home. So I think like there are a few indicators at this level. And it may be difficult to tell because the condition might be hidden by the lack of actual clutter. The individual has difficulty throwing items away in shops unreasonably for things they do not need. So that might have been my mom or something, you know?
Yeah, and it's better now, and I think it's actually kind of not better now because my parents have more space. But like I remember our garage was just storage, just like my grandfather's. Like you turn a room into storage that's not supposed to, like a garage is for what, your outdoor stuff in your car. That's what it's supposed to be for. And the next thing you know, my dad has like dressers he can't throw away. And my mom's like, what do you like? It's a broken dresser. Like just get rid of it.
Yeah, exactly. Do you ever see the fuck, never mind, I forget what it's called. Okay. Level 2. This level includes some noticeable characteristics in hoarders at this level. Most likely avoid letting friends or family into their home due to stress, anxiety, or embarrassment. So at least one blocked exit, one appliance out of order, malfunctioning ventilation system, including no cooling or heating for at least 6 months. Clutter in the walkways throughout the home and in one or more rooms, and light mildew in bathrooms or kitchens, limited housekeeping evidence. Level 3, at this level, they have poor hygiene, weight control issues, and emotional distress when confronted about their home and or lifestyle. So that includes cluttered household items outside of the home, at least 2 broken household appliances for 6 months, 1 area of the home with light structural damage, excessive number of pets and neglected living spaces, visible rodent, flea, or spiderweb infestation, narrowed hallways, at least 1 unusable bedroom or bathroom, excessive dust, dirty clothing, and or soiled flooring, noticeable odors throughout the home. Level 4 is that plus poor mental health. So noticeable mold and mildew, structural damage, the home, sewage issues, at least 3 areas with visible aging animal waste, unusable rooms, rotting or spoiled food and kitchen, fleas, lice, bed bugs, or other insects infestations, more than 1 blocked exit. And then like level 5 is the worst. Individuals may not be able to live in their own home. They may also discharge waste into non-toilet receptacles that remain inside the home. So severe structural damage, broken walls, fire hazards, no electricity or running water, clutter on every surface, noticeable human feces. Most of the entire home is inaccessible. Anyway, that is like one website, but everyone's basically the same. Those are the 5 levels.
Which is crazy because I think most articles you hear are like kind of level 4. They're like right before the worst thing you've ever seen. It's always like I said, like these kind of cat ladies. I personally don't know, but like a friend of somebody else's was at probably like a 3, where like there's nowhere for you to sit. There's like a lot of apologizing, but like you're just kind of like, there's a difference between like, oh, we just haven't fully moved in and boxes everywhere, and like this newspaper is from 1999. Like, what is this? Like, what are we doing here? And then clearly, I think we have people in our life, we have a lot of ones.
Yeah,
which,
1s and 2s.
Yeah, which is like a little weird where you're just like, I know it's not the worst because I've seen the worst, or I've seen really bad and I've read about really bad, but it's enough to make you be like, this is a little weird behavior, right? Like this isn't normal.
Yeah. I went into Joe Franklin's comedy club. No, let me revise. I went into
I was gonna say Office.
Franklin's office. Yeah. Have you
Yes.
seen Office?
Dude, as soon as you said Joe Franklin's, I was like, Office, right?
Yeah. What was, because it was in Times Square. It was like above, what building was it in? Like where the Laugh Factory was?
Joe Franklin's? No, it was down the street from where the Laugh Factory was.
Oh, either way.
Yeah.
It was years ago. That, I mean, he's since
Yeah.
died, but like I always wonder who had to clean that out because it was so much. What was it? Just like papers and boxes and
everywhere. And you're just like, I get, maybe we forget a little bit being in the digital age, how much filing and how many papers were necessary. But it was like, I don't know. It was a lot. He was a lot. It was a lot. It was a lot. It was a lot.
Super nice guy.
Very nice. And you know, that club really helped me. It was never fun, but it really did help me grow.
Yeah, that was, I really cut my
Made a lot of friends. I think we really became friends because of that club. Me and Adrian became friends because of that club. Like, it was definitely in that early comic rotation of let's bomb with a bunch of people that don't want to be here. Okay, we'll do treatment and then we'll get out of here.
Yes.
Okay, so treatment, cognitive behavior therapy, we've covered that a bunch. So clearly that kind of therapy is helpful. Peer-led groups, so kind of group therapy. And then medications, there's no exact medication like specifically for hoarding, but there's like a select serotonin re-up. So it's basically select serotonin reuptake inhibitor or a serotonin non-pinprenin, I don't know how to say that, uptake inhibitor. So these serotonin kind of meds are supposed to help somewhat with it. But I think clearly there's nothing specifically for hoarding, so it would have to be figured out. Yeah. I would love to hear any story if somebody themselves has dealt with hoarding, somebody in their life has dealt with hoarding. I would like to learn more about it and understand it more, but also, I mean, I think we all kind of know the devastations of it. And just, it always kind of bothers me, those shows where people have like weird habits and it really just feels like they're like, just showcased, like any kind of show where it's just like, this person eats wool, aren't they weird? And you're just like, hey man, let's pick a, like, just calm down. Like it just like, it's more like this freak show aspect. And I don't want to make it a freak show aspect. I want it to be like, what have you seen? And maybe did you see it slowly happen? Did you understand it was happening? Like, I don't know. I would like to learn more about it from like a personal experience if we have anybody that has gone through that. So you can write to us at twonondoctors@gmail.com. That's two non full word doctors@gmail.com. And we'll see you next week.
Thanks, guys. Bye.